Crystallizing here so I'm clear on this. You're talking about a 16 footer that's basically 6 feet in the beam. Um, that's the start platform. And what you're saying is get rid of the gas engine and go with a diesel power engine that we can put our biodiesel fuel in. Um, Alright, I can see the point with that. We could probably get better than probably 6 knots. I would probably, if you're going to deal with a gas engine on something this size, my best guess is something like 10 knots max, depending on the motor you're talking about. Um, Anything between say 8 and 12 knots is good um, for something that size. But for our usage, for what this is intended for, 16 footer, for my view, is probably 8 feet too short. But uh, I'll go along if you can show me how. Um, First of all, this is a lightweight pontoon, and you know that the old style pontoons were heavier. They had uh, they get waterlogged really easy, and they're sluggish in the water. Um, if you can show me how technology has changed, um, I would hear you out because the weight of a diesel powered motor to go along with a heavy design to begin with in the water, that doesn't show me how it's going to be very fuel efficient. And um, we would need to be able to cover a particular radius and to do it in an economical fashion in terms of the fuel. Yeah, I know we provide the fuel ourselves and everything, but still, it doesn't mean that we want to be wasteful. We have to be frugal with the fuel as well. Um, when we get to a particular point, when this is really going to become front and center, I want to be able to do the job with either a single vessel for deployment or a tandem deployment. I don't want to see we have to deploy like 3 or 4 of these um, vessels to see after um, any barge that we're applying navigable waters with. Now we realize that if we're doing trade with folks who are actually currently doing farming to acquire from them um, particular grains and corns and things of this nature, if we're going to ply the Addy River with barges to bring them down to make them available for trade or bring them down so we can transfer them to deep sea vessels, I would like very much to have the ability to use one vessel. Uh, Two vessels is really if you have a situation that you require assistance on, 2 or 3, but not just to shadow or secure or observe a barge making way uh, for any coastwise trade. I just don't see the sensibility in that. But I prefer to use um, any hull system where effectively the hull, as much as possible, is out of the water. So if it's going to be pontoons, whether it be catamaran style type of bottom or pontoon bottom, I'm open to either one, and I appreciate the efforts thus far. We're going to need particular things because as we wrap up food trade, whether it be storage, distribution, um, whatever we're doing in terms of the food that we are growing or acquiring from folks who are growing it and moving it as a commodity. However we're engaging, it's still going to be required to be transported. So customs is still going to have to require particular things. And as we upgrade CS4 to customs base 4, um, we're going to need particular things. And this is helpful as a start. Y'all keep developing this and let me see where certain things are. And when we get to other operations that customs will be doing with that, i.e., when we start doing biodiesel on a larger scale, enough for us to say we require some type of vessel to move um, that has a hold that will take between 80,000 and 125,000 gallons, which is not a lot. You got super tankers that hold twice and maybe even more than that in terms of amounts. But I'm not looking to do things at that tonnage right now. It'll be a while before we get there. We can ramp up to it over time. But as we get there, our abilities from customer standpoint is going to have to be able to match point for point our abilities in terms of how much we're actually processing for export. So this is excellent as a start. And we thank you for your efforts. And I'll get this information over and I'll sit down with ICF Command for Navigable Waters and we'll look at particular things. But in the meantime, the R&D needs to continue. And thank you very much. We appreciate that.